Thank you. I want to get to Dana Perino, who's here with us. That's the question, is how could the White House, A, have made the deal, but B, have allowed that Rose Garden ceremony with the President of the United States standing there next to the parents, knowing, they had to have known, did they not, of his circumstances?
It is hard for me to believe that they didn't know, and it's also hard for me to believe that how this actually happened. I remember as it unfolded, sitting back and watching, saying, they are talking in such absolutist language that they are going to be proven wrong at some point. Now, I think what the White House will try to do now is say, we believe in the system, we're going to let this play out, he's not been proven guilty yet, we'll let that play out. And they will hope that everybody sort of gets over this story in the next several weeks. But there's no doubt it's a permanent stain on the White House. Now, if I am just, let me just put myself in the White House's shoes tonight. Okay, so I understand when they say that we had to bring him back.
Right.
But they did not have to have the Rose Garden ceremony. And I think what happened is they got enamored with this idea of what the story was going to look like and how the movie would play out in their minds, that President Obama would be a hero and the parents of a prisoner of war could be in the Oval Office and walk out to the Rose Garden and speak to their son. And they love the theater of it. What's amazing, Megan, is that no one in the White House, lots of different offices had to have weighed in on this. No one says, maybe we could just do a photo release from the Oval Office of him calling the parents. It wasn't a
mystery that he was suspected of desertion. No. We had talked about that on this show prior to this whole thing.
So they knew it. And then in addition, what happens is they get this idea in their mind that the president, from the beginning, we know this was a campaign promise, he has wanted to close Guantanamo Bay.
There it is.
And I think that when they saw the opportunity to take 5 prisoners and swap them for someone they wanted
commanders.
to bring home.
This is what I want the audience to understand, because this is what General Keane says. He says, I believe, he's former Vice Chief of Staff of the Army. He says, I believe in getting back every man, but not at this price. It could have been done in different ways. You didn't have to trade those 5 guys. So the question is, why'd they do it? Is it more about emptying Gitmo than it is, or was at the time, about getting Bergdahl?
If you think about the timing of this, all was last spring, and I understand that Bergdahl was possibly, his health was in danger, but also the president was campaigning very heavily to show that his liberal Democrats, because the liberals have been the ones that have been complaining the most about the president's slow pace of closing Gitmo. That's when the president is actually more in line with the far left wing of his party on that issue. I think he really wanted to do it, so he found a way like, oh, this will be a good storyline, and then I can start emptying out Gitmo. Well, so you have the Taliban issue here. What's the other? The most prisoners right now, where are they from? Yemen. The model of success in the Middle East, of which tonight Saudi Arabia is starting military actions against the Houthis, which are supported by Iran, in the model that President Obama wanted us to follow 6 months ago.
And today, the White House stood behind its comments that Yemen is still the example of what we should look to in terms of fighting our counterterrorism operations. I mean, the disconnect is alarming.
But they're wanting to make sure, I think that they're talking in so many different directions, are hoping that nobody is paying attention. On this one, I'm glad for the families of the victims that they get some justice. And also, I think it was a very important decision. What Pete was saying is true about what the military's role and how they handled this. It was obviously a very thorough investigation. They did not cave to any political pressure, and they helped restore morale in the military, which is critical for the chain of command.
And I want to tell the audience that we are going to have several of those platoon members back on the program together tomorrow night. So you will see their reaction to this news. Dana, great to see you.